Hi, this is Kira with another video on midlife crisis. So there's a lot of content on this, so check out the playlist if you want more resources. You can also get a hold of me. I'll make sure that it's in the comments below if you feel like you really need to talk to someone about this. If you're not sure what's going on or if you know you need help. So midlife crisis is actually a process, and it has certain steps that are stages that you go through as you go through this process. And partly this is how you can tell if this is a midlife crisis or if you're just dealing with an issue that needs to be worked through. If you're having some other kind of mental or emotional challenge or an issue in your life, and you take an action to solve it, you will feel better in doing it. So say you're feeling dissatisfied with your job and you make some changes. Maybe you need to speak to somebody at work about it. Maybe you need to change jobs. You identify what the core of the issue is. You handle that issue, make a change, and it's gone. That's just issue specific. Or maybe you're just going through some mental and emotional challenges that are specific to a certain issue. Those aren't a midlife crisis. So a midlife crisis is when you have maybe even multiple issues, but there's not a sense that if you take an action or do something that it's going to make any difference. So let's get into the steps, and there's 6 of them. So the first step is that you have a dissatisfaction and maybe even a deep discomfort, but for no apparent reason. So you can't point to any specific issue in your life, although there may be a few, that one or more or all of them that you're not too happy with. But if you try to change that thing without doing the inner work, it doesn't work. You still feel the same sense of dissatisfaction. So a lot of people spend a lot of time in this stage going from thing to thing, thinking if I change my job, if I change my career, if I, change this relationship, if I, tell people not to treat me a certain way or to treat me a certain way, then that'll feel better. And it doesn't help. So you go through all these different things. And that's what the second stage is superficial things don't help. So thinking positive doesn't, it always helps, but it doesn't solve the issue. It doesn't move you past it. And, getting in better shape. And a lot of people may do a lot of really positive things at this stage, or they may avoid it and, kind of act out and, maybe develop some addictions or do things, act out in different ways. So whether you're doing it as an acting out in sort of a negative coping strategy or doing something more positive, which may actually be things that are good for you, they don't help and they don't solve the issue. So that's stage number 2. Stage number 3 is now I've tried all these things and stuff just isn't working. So you start to question, and you question everything. And I mean big questions. Like essentially you're asking kind of, what's the meaning of life? Why am I in this relationship? Why do I have this job? Why do I own this business? Why do I let people treat me XYZ? Why do I treat people like XYZ? Why? And you start to go a little bit deeper into the issues. The 4th step, and it kind of seems like a weird step, but the 4th step is you don't like what you see. You don't like what you see when you look outside into your life, and you don't like what you see inside you either. And sometimes the things on the outside can actually be really great things. They may be symbols of success. They may be things that in the past that you've really gotten a lot of pleasure out of doing. And it could be your career, it could be physical activities, it could be hobbies, it could be relationships, it could be a whole bunch of things. And you start to look at it and you're like, doesn't do it for me anymore. and you start to look inside and you're like, wow, there's this thing about me. Ugh, I don't like what I see. And then that gets you into step number 5. So you kind of have a choice at this point. Am I going to try to avoid it and start acting out and start using coping mechanisms, which usually aren't that healthy, or you're going to do the deep inner work? And if you don't choose to do the deep inner work, the issue is just going to keep confronting you over and over and over and over again, right in front of your face, until you get to the point where you're willing to do the deep inner work. When you start to do the deep inner work, you will have to face parts of yourself that are really unpleasant. And you may also face some where you really weren't recognizing how amazing you truly were. And people think, oh, that's an easy thing to do. Actually, it's not. For a lot of people, that is as hard as recognizing the difficult places. And it's like you have this incredible, beautiful diamond or ruby or this beautiful, rare jewel stone that's inside of you, but it's covered up with all kinds of stuff. It's covered with dirt. It's maybe got goo and stuff on it. Maybe it's got some tar on it, stuff that's harder to remove. And you have to peel back and clean off of all those layers through mental and emotional work until you get to the core within you, which is this incredible, gorgeous, and unique jewel. And this is the core of what needs to happen in a midlife crisis. And for most people, it's not easy. In fact, it's really hard. For me, it was probably the hardest thing that I've ever done. But it's the thing that works. And every step and every layer that you peel through and every little thing that you heal, it brings not just a sense of relief, but this sense of peace, this sense of calm, this sense of being right with the world. And sometimes if you're having a deep midlife crisis, then there's a lot of this to do. But you can do it. You do it piece by piece, and you can do it. And the benefit or the bonus, or like, well, why would I do this if this is so hard? Well, if you don't do it, life will keep putting it back in your face over and over and over and over and over again until you get it. And when you do the work, the issues are gone. They resolve themselves. There is tremendous benefit from doing this. And we usually get a gift beyond what we could ever imagine, which is the 6th step. It's transformation beyond your imagination. You will discover strength within yourself. You will discover beauty within yourself. You will discover unpleasant things that you're okay with, or that you can transform and heal. But you get to this place where you can do things, and you will do things, and you will feel and make decisions in a completely new way that you could not even have imagined when you started, before you started all this. And that's the real point of this, is doing this deep transformation. And, think about transformation. Transformation is the caterpillar that goes through the chrysalis that becomes a butterfly. It's not recognizable at the end. It becomes something totally new and totally different. And that's the purpose of a midlife crisis, is for you to do the work, to go into your chrysalis so that you can become this incredible, beautiful butterfly that's trying to get out. And once you've gone through the midlife crisis, you might go back to some of the old things in your life and get pleasure out of them and enjoy them in a whole new way. Or you may decide that some things, or even all things, aren't the authentic you. And you can't make that decision or choice until you've gone through the process. But when you do, the things that are in your life will be based on this solid core of this beautiful jewel that is pure and authentic. And your life will reflect that. You will have this sense of calm, this sense of internal peace, this internal knowingness that you just can't be shaken very easily or at all. And that's the beauty of working with the midlife crisis and going through it and actually doing the work to let it do what it's meant to do. So, like I said, you can fight this as long as you want to. And different people will have the issues and the symptoms in the different stages to varying degrees. But it's so much more helpful when you can acknowledge what the process is and know that there is a process. And more importantly, that if you do the work, you will get to the end. And that's one of the biggest things that I want to leave you to, not just what the process is, but there is hope, because this stuff is challenging for most people. For many people, it is challenging. But, you know, at the other side is this incredible gift of who you really are that is worth going through the journey. So be positive, even though you might not be feeling great. Trust that the process will lead you forward and that it'll work. And, you know, have that hope that things are going to get better. They get better when you let the process happen and you get to the point where you're ready and you're doing the deep inner work. That is what makes the difference. And that is how you get to the process happening. So there's going to be a lot more resources on this. If you do have questions, send them to me, because everybody has little different experiences, and I'd like to continue to provide you with answers and resources so that you can get to that incredible transformation of who you were meant to be with as much ease as is possible when you're actually going through this. Here are the 6 stages of the midlife crisis.